Hey, what's up, everyone? In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the exact environment that I use for AI coding, and it's completely free to get started. This is going to allow you to enhance code snippets, create plugins, enhance the MyListing theme, maybe fix bugs within the MyListing theme that you run across. Anything that is WordPress related has code, so you can work on it. All right. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to stop this video once we get the environment set up. And then in future videos, we will look at coding some things together. Okay. But again, this is the exact environment that I use on a daily basis. All right. So let's go ahead and just get started. I started on this screen, which is cursor, because it's a pretty screen to look at versus what I'm about to show you now. But let's go ahead and get this out of the way. First thing you want to do is get a browser that is private. You want to make sure you are working in a browser that you're not signed into, that is not syncing across other computers, that has access to your data, your browsing history, your payment information, all that. You want it to be completely separate. All right. What I use is Microsoft Edge every day as my daily driver browser. So naturally, I went over and I wanted to find the Canary version of Edge to use. So I found that right here. If you're interested in this, you can also use the dev version or the beta version. Each of them has a different update frequency. Canary is daily, dev is weekly, and beta is monthly. I like to stay on the cutting edge because in a dev environment with AI, it's not critical that you're on a super stable version. The Canary is just fine. But if you're worried about that, go over to dev or beta. The really neat thing here is the badges. It allows you to easily see which browser you are working in and make sure you're not using one of your daily browsers where you're logged in with your accounts and stuff. All right. So I already have this Edge Canary installed. So we were ready to go there. You can use Chrome if you want. They have a Canary channel. You can use Firefox. Most of the major browsers allow you to use a Canary channel or a dev channel. All right. All right. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up Cursor. This is going to be our dev environment where the coding magic happens. I think you guys are really going to love it. It's fun to use. And I'll have all of the links in the description of this video. But for this, we go to cursor.com. We sign up for a free account. We download it to our workstation. It works on all of the major operating systems, Windows, Mac, whatever. I've already downloaded it, but we're going to go ahead and install Cursor together. So let me go ahead and fire that up. And all we're going to do here is go through the default options. That's all there is to this right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, let this install finish, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, we can go ahead and click finish, which is going to launch Cursor. All right, so we are already logged in. All we need to do here is minimize, okay? If you are not logged into Cursor yet, I was already logged in from before, so it kind of saved my information. It's gonna come up and it's gonna ask you for privacy mode settings. Make sure you toggle that off. You want to be in privacy mode. You do not want Cursor to have access to your data to train their AIs. Make sure you are in privacy mode. You'll have to turn a toggle off. Okay. It's going to ask you also if you want to connect to GitHub. Just go ahead and skip connecting to GitHub. You just want to get that install in place and get it minimized for our next step. All right. All right. So the next step is to get WordPress Studio installed. This is, again, everything in this is free software wise. All right. This is going to allow you to set up a local installation of WordPress, multiple, as many as you want on your local workstation. And this also allows you to keep everything private. Everything is on your local machine. There's no internet connection with your WordPress install. Let the AI talk directly to your local workstation, which also has benefits because the AI doesn't have to go across the web. It can access all of the data locally. It's private. It's much faster. Everything's great. Again, choose your operating system. Go ahead and download. I've already done that. But we will start the install together right now. There is also the option to use an application called Local WP. You may have heard of that. I did a video on it quite a while back, but that is another option that you can use. I just find that WordPress Studio is easier to use. It's cleaner. I prefer it. Local WP is definitely more for hardcore developers, I would say. But this is all we need in this case for what we are doing. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, let WordPress Studio install, and we'll come back. Be back in a second. Okay, WordPress Studio is in place. The next thing we want to do is choose Start from Blueprint, and we want to choose the Development Blueprint. Now it's going to ask us to name our site. You can name it whatever you want. I like it to name each site with each project that I'm working on. So if I'm building a plugin, I would call it, like Ryan's plugin, for example. If I was building another plugin, I would call it Ryan's next plugin, but I would give it the actual name of the plugin. Okay. You want to click this drop down here for advanced settings. And the thing you want to be concerned with here is the password. That's all you need to worry about. So I'm going to pull this over to my other screen and just change my password real quick. Now this is logging in for the WordPress dashboard, the WordPress admin for this particular install. That's why you got to make sure you know what that password is. Okay, so I have the password in place, and I'm going to go ahead and click Use Custom Domain also. That's going to give me this local URL here. This is important here in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and just copy that. Can't remember if I need it right away, but let's go ahead and copy that. All right, let's go ahead and add site. None of this stuff matters right now. You can tweak this later if you need to. Add site. This only takes a minute or two, but I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I will be back in 1 second. Okay, we have our site ready to go in WordPress Studio. And one of the things that we want to do right away is we see open in cursor. So this is really cool magic right here. We're going to go ahead and click on that button. Remember, we installed the cursor desktop together. Remember that? So it's going to go ahead. It's going to hook right there into our desktop of cursor, ready to go. We're going to make a couple tweaks. I want to go up under View, and I want to go to Appearance, and I want to move the primary sidebar to the right. See how that shifted? I like the File menu to be on the left-hand side, and I like to chat on the right-hand side. That is a personal preference. I think in most AI browsers, for example, the chat is on the right-hand side, so I'm really used to that. Here is our folder structure, folders and files for our WordPress project. Okay, puts them nice and neatly there in cursor for us. Super, super cool. Go ahead and minimize this for a second. Over here, you get a link to your WP admin. I'm going to go over to settings. Remember that we created that we wanted to use a custom URL. That could come into play for examples where I was building a plugin where I had to log into a completely separate browser to test it. So to do that, I needed this custom domain for that to happen. So you may not need that custom domain in there to start, but I just want to point out you may run into a situation where you need it. But the key thing I want to show you here is to grab this and copy it and make sure that this is open in your Canary, your dev, your test browser. Well, I'm just going to call it your AI browser going forward, which is what I have open here. So I'm just going to paste that in. So that gets us to our WordPress admin. Now the difference is we could, if I pull up Studio again, if I go here and I click this link, we see what happens. I'll go ahead and do it because we're not doing any AI stuff really. Actually, I can't show you that. So private information over there. But basically what that did is it opened it up in my regular browser. So you would need to set if this computer is all you're doing is AI stuff, then you could set your default browser and it's not a big deal. But I've got multiple browsers running, so it's pulling my daily browser open. That's why I wanted you to come over here and grab this URL and punch it in to your Canary or Dev or whatever. Okay. So I did that. We are now in our WordPress install. We want to go over to appearance and themes. Just as you would with any WordPress install, just clear out what you don't need. I'm going to take out all of the themes except for the default theme, just to keep everything lightweight and clean. Now it depends what you're developing for. If we are developing a plugin for like a classic WordPress theme, then obviously we need a classic theme in here. This 2025 theme is a block-based theme. If we're developing a block-based solution, we need a block-based theme. If we are working with code snippets or whatever, or plugins for the MyListing theme, or debugging the MyListing theme, enhancing the MyListing theme, the MyListing theme needs to be installed. Okay, so we will worry about that later. Again, we're just setting up the base environment here. Under plugins, we want to deactivate Gutenberg. And we want to delete all plugins except for PCP, Plugin Check, and Query Monitor. We want to leave those two. Those two plugins that we are leaving behind are development type of plugins. That's why we chose the development blueprint for WordPress Studio. These two plugins help you verify that the code that you are creating. If you've created a plugin, PCP comes into play. It's going to validate your plugin for security, accessibility, performance, all of those things. If you're going to later create submit your plugin to the WordPress repo, for example, you must pass the plugin checks. Query Monitor is going to help you test is one type of plugin. It's probably the most popular plugin that you can test to make sure that your code, doesn't matter if it's a plugin or not, just your code, what it's doing from a performance standpoint. What's it doing with the database? What kind of calls is it make your solution call? What is your solution calling in WordPress? What kind of performance overhead is it adding? What scripts is it loading? Things of that nature. So it's developer type stuff. So that's it. We've got our themes narrowed down. We've got the plugins we needed. So that's all we really need to do there in that WordPress install. So I can go ahead and close that down. The next thing we need to do is we need to get our WordPress rules into Cursor. So for that, you go to cursor.directory, go to the search box and type in WordPress. The rules that we are looking for are right here. There's a couple WordPress entries in here. We're looking for the one with the most installs. Okay, this one clearly has the most. We click on that. We want to add these three sets of rules. You see this toggle, there's 3 sets of rules. We want to add all 3 of those rules to Cursor. So one by one, we're just going to click Add to Cursor and say Add to Project. We go back, Add to Cursor, Add to Project, and one more time, Add to Cursor, Add to Project. Now that those 3 rules are added, we see those up here if we expand Cursor, and we see our 3 rule sets. What these are is just coding guidelines that people help write over the years, or however long it's been, to curate. What are some of the rules that we want Cursor and the AI and the LLMs to abide by and pay attention to when they're writing any code? Okay, so this helps us create the best type of code for WordPress we can possibly create. And I've got one more that I've added. You can drop this into any of the rules. I like to just drop it into the first one. Doesn't matter where you put it. I'm just going to put it down here. And I put a heading of performance on there. There we go. So my rule is ensure all code is optimized for performance and doesn't run anywhere it shouldn't. So this is just a performance rule that I came up with after talking with some developers in the WordPress space, and that seems to be a good rule to add. So I've added it. So we've got all of our rules in place. We are ready to go there. Let me run through my notes and make sure we've got everything. We've got our browser set up. I'm running a Canary build. You can run Canary or Dev or Beta or whatever it is the browser that you want to use is offering, but just don't use your daily browser that you log into and sync your data and all track it. Just don't do it, all right? Make sure you're not logged in to whatever browser you're using. We downloaded and we installed Cursor. We used the free plan. We turned off the data sharing, which i.e. it's privacy mode. We skipped the connecting to GitHub for now. We don't need to do that. We installed the WordPress Studio, also free. We set up our site. That's ready to go. We chose our development blueprint, gave our site a name. We opened our project, our website in Cursor, so that's ready to go. We cleaned up our plugins. We cleaned up our themes. In Cursor setup, we set up our windows. Remember we shifted these left and right, chat on the right, folder files on the left. We set that up. What else did we do? We added the WordPress rules from the Cursor directory. We added my one special rule. And that's it. All right. That is the environment, guys. It's super, super simple, totally free to do. Once you're in here, literally right now, you see this chat. This is what's so exciting. As soon as I hit this mark, I was like really excited. This window right here, you can literally start typing in there and say, create a plugin that does XYZ, create a code snippet that does XYZ. And I'll show you some other cool things in a future video, but that's the environment, completely free to set up. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video.